have a genuine question to today's parents. Genuine. Stop and listen and answer my questions honestly. Why do we not spank our children anymore? What is wrong with discipline and spanking? Like, I'm genuinely asking because I grew up with a grandparent who whipped me with a switch, and
It's lazy parenting. You don't actually teach your kids anything by hitting them. It sets them up to distrust you and fear you. It's also been proven to make kids grow up to be dumber and not emotionally stable. Lazy parenting. So you come home, you're upset, you're irate because of some shit that's happened to you throughout the day. Your kid picks up or touches a button that they're not supposed to touch, and you've told them a million times, and instead of saying no, you scream at them, no! And then you run over and you smack the shit out of them, and the next thing they know, they're just fucking crying for like 3 minutes straight because you just hit them. That's a lazy fucking parent. And you just created more work for yourself too, because now you have to deal with this screaming kid who's freaking out over the fact that you hit them, whenever in their little mind, all they did was touch something. Lazy parents jump to corporal punishment as the default. You can always point them out too, because they'll say shit like they'll just start threatening to hit their kids whenever their kids look a little bit sideways at them or do something that is just slightly a faux pas. Like, and they'll always say, do I need to take you outside so we can, I fucking hate those people. Mostly I hate them because of the abuse that I saw as a kid from my peers and in my own family. Now I'm the youngest out of 5, and by the time that I came around, well, CPS had already gotten involved. We got an old memory from whenever I was about 7 years old. My sister, who was a good 10 years older than me, my mom took her, slammed her onto the ground, and then just started beating the crap out of her with a belt. She was like, I think 16 at the time. Not shortly after that, CPS came back around and my sister went to foster care. My dad was significantly worse than what my mom was. You should know, my dad never laid a hand on me, but on my brothers, he damn sure did. The only story that I know about my dad's mom was that my mom, whenever she had my 2 oldest siblings, my brother and my sister, they went down to Mexico and stayed with them for a little while. My dad had left, and whenever he came back, he showed up to see that his young son was hogtied on the bed and that his daughter was being forced outside to sleep with the horses and the cattle. My mom was an extremely timid person. She was easily taken into submission by my evil fucking grandma. My dad slept outside with his daughter throughout the night, and apparently he was crying. So that's just a dose of what my dad grew up with. So I don't fault him for what he did to my siblings, because in comparison to what he grew up with, it's fucking cakewalk. Now, the stories that I had heard from my brothers were that they got ass beatings that grown men would get. Now, my mom, she did hit me. Now, parents divorced, and I left with my mom, and my mom's corporal punishment that just never worked on me. Didn't matter how hard she hit me, it just made me want to retaliate even more. On some kids, on some people, force just doesn't work. What did work on me were my coaches. They would take me aside and talk to me about the things that I was doing and how I was acting, and explain to me how it wasn't working out and that it's not going to be a very good trajectory for me to go down. I also went through therapy from the Panhandle Crisis Center whenever I was a little kid, and that helped out quite a bit. Gave a lot of tips about how to deal with an alcoholic parent. That gave a lot of tips about how to deal with abuse in your household. Pretty fucked up that a therapist has to tell a small child how to deal with an abusive parent. Now, I told you all that so that I could preface it and so you have an understanding of what I'm about to say. Hitting your kids whenever they are young, it creates emotionally unstable adults. It also creates idiots. My eldest brother is the idea of toxic masculinity. This is what people are talking about whenever they're saying that somebody is a toxic masculine male. Whenever people say that, by the way, they don't mean that you're a man. They mean that you're a fucking adult child. He's not stable. If you go through and you even question his manliness, or you question that he might not be the smartest person in the room, he goes into this fucking emotional turmoil, dude. It's insane. It is so easy to set that person off. Now, my other brother does not have the ability to process any emotions. Like, his emotion is just rage. It's at everything. If something happens and he can't figure it out, he was never allowed to express himself as a kid. So all he ended up doing was growing up to be an angry teenager, then growing into being a fucking angry adult. Now, as an older man, he's calmed down significantly, but it's still there, man. You can still see it just easily set off. And the other one, he has massive trust issues. All because of my dad, man. And lazy parenting and spanking results in your kids being emotionally unstable adults. It doesn't teach kids to respect you, it teaches them to fear you, and furthermore, it makes it to where they're going to hide things from you. They're not going to come to you for any sort of help over anything that they might potentially get into trouble with. So here's a story from a friend I used to have. She was being molested. She didn't go to her parents because she thought that it was something that she was doing wrong and she would get into trouble for. Her parents were the type of people that would fly off the handle and hit her over nothing. Gee, I wonder why she didn't trust her parents enough to go and talk to them about something that she felt was really, really wrong. Why the fuck do you people think that spanking equals discipline? Now check this out. You outweigh your kids by 100 pounds easily all throughout their life up until they hit about, say 14, 15 years old. Why the hell are you going at them and hitting them when you can simply just grab their hand and say no and hold it for 2 seconds, look them in the eye and say no? If you're looking for physical intimidation, that's enough. That's all you have to fucking do. But if every time that you get out of your chair, your kid is flinching, you're a fucking child abuser. Not too long ago, I had my son introduced to another little young man. And in that introduction, they started off great. And then their kid, who's like, I don't know, 6 months younger than mine, touched my son's hair. And the mom yelled, "No!" And then got up and just started screaming and then hit him. And he started crying. She turned what was something that was nothing into a whole fucking ordeal. The kid's screaming and crying for like 4 minutes straight. My son's looking shocked, going, "What the hell?" Here's the thing. I haven't brought my son back over to that person, and I'm never going to, because I'm trying to teach my kid that hitting other people is wrong, and here is this adult hitting somebody. I questioned them about it too, because what the fuck was that? That kid was like maybe one and 2 months, something like that. Real small, real tiny. And the mom justified it, and she was sitting there mad dogging her own kid like she was going to hit him again. In contrast, here's how I taught my kid not to pull my long ass hair. Whenever he would do it, I would grab his hand, I would force my thumb into his hand, and I'd pull it off, and I'd say, "No, don't do that." It took maybe 5 times of going through and doing that. He never cried, never got angry at me, never feared me. Now, he just doesn't pull my fucking hair. Lazy fucking parenting.